morning, pupils, and welcome back to class. Did you all enjoy your weekend? Oh wow, I'm very pleased to hear that. Okay, so for this morning's subject, we'll be looking at mathematics. Now, who's excited for mathematics? Yes, that's right, we all are. Okay, now before we get into our topic for today, we will be looking at a digital storybook, okay? So, I want everyone to pay attention. This storybook is entitled Solid Shapes. Solid shapes are here, solid shapes are there, solid shapes are everywhere. Solid shapes occupy space. Examples of solid shapes. I am a sphere. I have one face. I have no edges. I have no vertices. I am a cube. I have 6 faces. I have 12 edges. I have 8 vertices. I am a cone. I have 2 faces. I have 1 edges and I have 1 vertex. I am a cylinder. I have 3 faces. I have 2 edges. I have no vertices. I am a cuboid. I have 6 faces. I have 12 edges. I have 8 vertices. So class, did you enjoy viewing that digital storybook? Oh wow, that's great to hear. Okay, so can you tell me what the storybook was all about? That's right, it was about solid shapes. And our topic for today is solid shapes. That's right. Okay, so can you remember what is a solid shape from the storybook? That's right, class. A solid shape is an object that takes up space. Very good. Now class, can you remember some of the solid shapes mentioned in this digital storybook? That's right, Sarah. We had the sphere. What else? Very good, Derek. We had the cuboid. That's right, Makaya. We had the cylinder as well. Okay. Now, class, while you were viewing the digital storybook, did you hear some new terms? Yes, you did, right? And can you remember some of those terms? Right. We heard about edges. What else, class? That's right. We heard about vertices. That's correct. We heard about faces. Okay, so these terms are used to describe the solid shapes, right? But we will get into that later into the lesson. But for now, let us look at the definition of solid shapes. The definition of solid shape says that a solid shape is an object that occupies space. And what this means, class, is that a solid shape takes up space, or in other words, a solid shape fills up space. The solid shapes that we will be looking at today are the cube, the cuboid, the cylinder, the cone, and the sphere. Placed in front of me here are models of the solid shapes we'll be looking at today. But I need your help in identifying these solid shapes. Will you help me, class? Okay, great. Now, can you remember the name of this solid shape? Frank? Very good, Frank. It's a cube. Okay, class, repeat after me. Cube. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the next solid shape. Who can identify this solid shape? Natasha? Very good. It's a cuboid. Let's say it together, class. Cuboid. Okay, what about this solid shape? That's right, Jason. It's a cylinder. Let's say it, class. Cylinder. How about this solid shape? Very good. It's a cone. Let's say it together, class. Cone. What about this solid shape, class? Okay, Susan, it's not a ball. It looks like a ball, but it's not a ball, okay? It's a sphere. Okay, let's say it together. It's a sphere. Now you will be having a little activity where you will be completing a worksheet. Here's what the worksheet looks like.
You are tasked with naming the shapes below, and you will give one example of everyday objects that look like solids. The first one is done for you. So, a globe is an example of a sphere that we see in our everyday life. Now that you have completed your worksheet, let's go through the answers. Giselle, would you like to name the first solid shape that is on the worksheet? That's right, Giselle. Good job. It's a cylinder. Now let's have Derek name the second solid shape. Awesome job, Derek. It's a cone. Okay, class. So Shivani wants to name the third shape. That's right, Shivani. It's a cube. Good job. Sarah, would you like to name the next solid shape for us? Is she correct, class? Yes, she is. It is a cuboid indeed. Now, who would like to name our last solid shape? Tyreek, go ahead. That's right, it's a sphere. Good job, everyone. Now, let's move on to the next part of the worksheet. Tommy, can you name an example of an object that looks like a cone? That's right, Tommy. A party hat or an ice cream cone is one such example. Let's have examples of objects that looks like a cube from Daniela and Mark. Good job, guys. So class, Daniela said dice and Mark said box. Now let's move on to cylinder. Cindy, would you like to give me some example? Excellent. So soda cans and batteries are examples of objects that looks like cylinders.
In this part of the lesson, we will be looking at the properties of solid shapes. Now class, can you tell me what the word properties mean? Wow, very good. Excellent answer, Rashad. Thank you for sharing with us. So class, Rashad is saying that the word properties mean the characteristics. Very good. Amelia? Wow, very good. So class, Amelia is saying that properties also mean the features of something. Okay, very good. You are both correct. Now the properties describe something. They tell us more about something. So when we will be looking at the properties of solid shapes, it will be telling us more about these solid shapes. It will be describing these solid shapes. Now class, can you remember in the beginning of the lesson we spoke about some terms that we heard from the digital storybook? Can you remember those terms? Right, they were the faces, the edges, and the vertices. Now those three terms are used to describe the properties of solid shapes. Okay, and now we will look at what these terms really mean. So class, here we have a chart and it is showing us the words that we just talked about, and it is also showing us the meaning of these words. Now let us read together. So we have faces. Let us read what it means. The faces are the sides that you touch when you hold a shape. And here we have a little diagram. Now can you tell me what is the name of this shape here? That's right, it's a cube. And we can see the face labeled on the cube. Okay? Now here class, we have a cube. Let us identify the faces on this cube. Remember what the definition said? That's right, the faces are the sides that you touch when you hold a shape. So the sides that I am touching right now, I am touching here when I hold it. I am touching here when I hold it. I can touch here when I hold it. So all of these places that I am touching are the faces of the shape. Does everyone understand that? Excellent. Now let us look at the next term, and it is edges. Let's read what it means. Edges are the lines around the shape. And we have our diagram here again, and it is showing us where the edges are. It's the lines around the shape. So let us identify the edges on this cube. So the definition says it's the lines around the shape. So let's look for the lines around the shape here. So we have a line here, we have one going up, we have another one here, and we have one here. So those are the edges. So edges are all over on this shape, right? They are the lines around the shape. Now let us look at the next term. It is vertex, and then we have a slash, vertices. Now the term vertex is singular, it means one. So we say one vertex. And then we have vertices. Vertices is the plural form of the word vertex. Now class, let us look at what the word vertex or vertices really mean. So it says that the vertices are the pointy bits where the edges meet, and we have our diagram to show us. So where the edges meet, we have one edge here and another one coming up there. So where it meets is called the vertices. So let us identify the vertices on this cube. So where the edges meet, so let's identify that. So this is an edge and this is another edge, and where they meet, the point at where they meet is called the vertices. Another way we can identify the vertices very easily, you can touch it and feel the pointy bits. So all of these pointy sides here, they are the vertices. So now that you know what are the faces, the edges, and the vertices of a shape, it is time you complete an activity. So you'll be placed into groups of 4, and each group will be given a worksheet that looks like this, okay? And this worksheet contains a table, and it is a table of the properties of the solid shape. Now each group will be given the models of the solid shape to aid you in completing the table. So when you want to find out how many faces a cube has, you're going to use your cube and you're going to look at it and you're going to count the number of faces and you're going to put it in on the table. So now that all the groups have finished completing their properties of solids table, we are now going to look at all the answers. Now you will be telling me the answers and I will be placing it into my table here. So the first shape we have here is a cube. Now can you tell me how many faces does the cube have? Okay, so Sarah is saying 6. Now let us see if a cube has 6 faces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. She is correct. Now how many edges does a cube have, class? 12. So now let's count the number of edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. How about the number of vertices? Now let's count them together, class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, now let's move on to the cylinder. Let's count the number of faces a cylinder has. So we have one at the top here, one at the bottom, and another one here. So that's right, it's 3 faces. So the cylinder has 3 faces. So now let us find how many edges the cylinder has. Nikita is saying that the cylinder has 2 edges. Let us see if Nikita is correct, class. So let us count the number of edges. So we have 1, And then we have 2. She is correct. So how about the number of vertices, class? Okay, so everyone is shouting 0. Why are you shouting 0, class? That's right, because it has no pointy bits. Now let's move on to the cuboid. Let's count the number of faces a cuboid has. We have 1, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So is that correct? Yes, it is correct. So let's put that in here. How about the number of edges? Let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So is that correct, class? Yes. What about the number of vertices? Let's count them. This should be easy, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is that correct? Yes. Now let us move on to the cone. Let us find the number of faces a cone has. So it has 1 face, and then it has another face here. So it has 2 faces. Now Yannick, can you tell me how many edges does a cone have? Okay, Yannick is saying 1. Is he correct, class? Yes, he is. How about the number of vertices, class? That's right, it only has 1. Now let us move on to our sphere. How many faces do you think this sphere has, class? 1, that is correct. How about the number of edges? Did you find any edges on this sphere? No, it has no edges. How about the number of vertices? Did you find any? No, so that would be. So now that we've completed our table, it is time for you to do an activity. This activity will conclude our lesson for today. The activity is for you to create a booklet or a chart to show the solid shapes and their properties.